How's it going, ladies and bruisers? I'm Bobby Sixkilla. Welcome back to Ever 17. It's time for another major choice that's going to hit us much closer to Coco's path. This is a choice obviously that didn't come up before at all. We are going together. Why don't we all go? That was my idea. Well, I guess that is an option. There's no reason we have to split into teams of two. And that way Takeshi won't be putting the moves on me. I said I'm not interested. So all four of us ended up moving to the room together. The room was covered in a massive web of pipes. The pipes continued into the adjacent generator room. It seems that by opening and closing the valves, the water and oil pressure could be adjusted. Normally, La MMIH is responsible for maintaining the generator room, but even La MMIH can't do much when the generator itself goes out. Anyhow, this is all because the power supply is down. This room is designed so that the maintenance can be performed manually at times like this, or during blackouts. That was what you told me. You selected one pipe from the countless rows of them and instructed Takeshi to close its valve. Geez, you sure have a knack for abusing folk. As he complained, Takeshi did as you had ordered and turned the valve shut. Sarah and I just stood off to the side watching the work unfold. Finally... Damn, that's no good. This won't close. Geez, you wimp. You're a man, right? You can say what you want, but this valve ain't gonna shut any faster. It's rusted solid, it won't even budge. Well, how about trying a wrench? Wrench? There's a bolt on the handle, right? If you get a wrench on it, it might move. Oh, a wrench, huh? Hey kid, you heard her. Give me the toolbox already, would you? I peered around in the darkness. What are you doing? I said give me the toolbox. But there isn't one here. Huh? Takeshi, did you forget to bring it? Oh crap, I left it in front of the generator room. This sucks. Alright, I'll go get it. That's not far, is it? I ran, heading for the exit. Water splashing as I ran along the route we'd come along. The generator room was practically next door. Yeah, that's what I thought. Less than 30 feet later, I turned the corner and entered the generator room, leading it to in front of the generator room. How's that a big deal if it's only 30 feet away? Oh no, I left it 30 feet away. I'll go get it. There it is. The toolbox was sitting right in front of the door. I headed toward it. Every time I put my foot down on the floor, little ripples form on the surface of the water. The tiny circles of waves collided with the wall and bounced off of the side of the toolbox, rippling out in regular concentric circles. It was dark. Still, I was able to sense the changes in coldness and the movement of the water. My vision felt surprisingly sharp. It happened just then. There was a big splash and a spray of water. It came from around the right side of the wall, nearly below the operating console. The droplets of water scattered gently around my legs. The ripples on the surface of the water gently bumped against my feet. A fear like I'd never felt chilled me to the core. I readied myself for anything, facing the darkness, and just then, Moon Sprite shouldering a long bow, waiting inside a dream. Who's there? Tonight, a story by moonlight. Hoping the wait will be short. Hey, who's there? Sleeping curled and snug. Sleeping in mother's arms. Coco? I said the name without thinking. The shape that suddenly swelled out of the darkness was undoubtedly the girl from the compression chamber. The one from the day before. And Coco was singing a song. I was waiting for you. She spoke before I could. I waited and waited for you to come. I was waiting, all alone like a moon sprite. Then you should have come to me. I couldn't. That's impossible. Why? Because you wouldn't take me with you. What? Will you take me to where everybody is? Of course I will. Let's go right now. Just as I said that, a wall of water exploded near Coco's feet. Droplets of water scattered everywhere like mist. Farewell. Coco disappeared in the spray. The resulting waves stroked my feet. A fine rain of mist erupted skyward and rained down gently on the waves. There was the toolbox, left in the darkness. That was all I saw. I forgot myself and all I could do was stand in the narrow corridor. I didn't know how much time had passed. Dragging the heavy toolbox and my heavier legs, I returned to the room with the pipes. I should just about do it. You're not done, are you? Nope, we're still getting ready. Oh, I see. We have to repair the generator next door after we finish here. Takeshi wiped away the sweat from his forehead. Huh, kid? What are you doing here? Noticing me, you turned around. I brought the toolbox. Toolbox? Doesn't look like they need it anymore. What? Oh, sorry about that. Turns out the valve was closed to begin with. So no how much I tried to close it, it wouldn't budge because it was already shut. I heard you the first time. Is that right? Hey, don't be like that. These things happen sometimes. I'm not mad. What's wrong? I decided to... Jesus. I kinda want to tell them about it, but they'll just think I'm nuts, like always. Fuck it, tell them. I told them. Actually, I saw that girl again. What do you mean, that girl? The girl that disappeared in the compression chamber? I told you last night, don't you remember? Oh, your invisible friend. She's not invisible. I screamed at them as loud as possible. Kid, take it easy. Just calm down. Where'd you see the girl? In front of the generator room. Did she say anything? Yeah. I think she said something about being all alone like a moon sprite. Oh, I know. She was singing a lullaby. A lullaby? It's the same lullaby that Sarah sang before. Takeshi and you looked at Sarah. I focused my eyes on her too. That hasn't happened in this timeline yet either, has it? I didn't sing any lullaby. Liar. You did too sing a lullaby before, Sarah. I remember it. Sarah stared at me as if she felt sorry for me. You looked like she had a bad taste in her mouth. Takeshi avoided my eyes and leaned in close to say something to you and Sarah. You and Sarah listened to Takeshi whispering. What are you whispering about? I'm fine, I'm not crazy. Don't you look at me like that. Okay, everything's fine. Why don't we all go to the place where you saw the girl? She's not there anymore. She disappeared. I see, but maybe she'll show up again? It's no good, she won't. Look, we believe you. I mean, we've decided to believe you. Alright? So just keep your cool, okay, kid? I didn't feel like saying anything else. Their agreeing with me was somehow sad. I was sure they were just whispering. I was sure that the little whispering conference they just had went something along the lines of, just agree with whatever he says. It depressed me and sapped all my energy. I didn't feel like resisting the three of them, or trying to give myself a pep talk. I was tired. I thought they could do what they wanted. You just keep your cool, okay, kid? Takeshi's words lacked conviction. After that, we went back in front of the generator room. Of course, there was no sign of the girl. The four of us waited outside the generator room until we could be sure that the temperature inside had cooled enough. Time was cruel, but forgiving. Like a wave that was rushing ever closer with each second. The sadness, frustration, and doubt in the back of my mind slowly disappeared. After a while, I was back to my normal old self. Only Coco's parting words, farewell, seemed to linger in my mind, echoing without end. Finally, when we thought the time had come, we timidly opened the door. It was like opening the door to a steam bath. A cloud of steam hissed out of the door. The heat inside had just about defied imagination. The air in the steam-filled room was heavy and stuck to the skin. Inhaling felt like swallowing globs of sticky hot steam. Takeshi was opening and closing his mouth like a fish out of water. That's always hilarious. I think we can skip for a while now. I didn't have any major suspicions about Sora's disappearance during the blackout. I knew she was an RSD-generated image. Sora, so we fixed the generator? It would appear so. No, we don't need that bit. This is flavor. Just flavor, my dude. After that, we gathered up at the rest area, had a light meal and chatted it up. From beginning to end, Sora's explanation of the RSD system dominated the conversation. During the talking, I discovered something of interest. I learned that Sora was supposed to be amazing when it came to computers. Sora was floored the day before when she'd heard that Sora was computer generated. But when Sora gave her a technical explanation, she was able to absorb it all without any problem. You said this about Sarah. Mayo, she's a hacker. Hacker? Yeah. How should I explain this? I guess you could say a computer expert of sorts? Anyway, she knows everything about computers, and she kicks butt when it comes to programming too. She writes programs for kicks. Just the other day, she got a first place at some cracking contest. Cracking contest? A contest to break break codes. Nothing so... Just so you know, it's not illegal. It was sponsored by some company with code technology. It was legal cracking to test the security of the technology. The company has hackers attack their algorithms. Just think of it as a decryption game contest. Oh, so it's a game. Just because you call it a game, I wouldn't take it lightly. There were engineers participating from all over the world. Winning it means you're one of the world's best hackers. You can even say the best hacker. The best? That's just way too incredible. I know. When it comes to computers, she's just a genius. That about rounded out the topic for RSD. At the end of the conversation, Sora added the following. I'm only seen when someone looks at me. I mean, that I cease to exist when no one is looking at me. For example, if the 5 of you here all closed your eyes at once, in an instant I would cease to exist anywhere. After the discussion, I stayed in the rest area alone. It was free time of sorts. I imagined that everyone was walking around Lemur spending time as they pleased. We'd decided when and where we would meet. I didn't know what I should do with myself until then. I was bored stiff. I looked down. The floor was covered with a layer of water. The lights in the ceiling were reflected in the water. It was like the cold light of the moon. I poked my finger in the water. Plop. The water rippled and the surface shook. The light of the water fragmented into disarray, finally returning to its original shapes. I reached into the water, trying to grab the light, but I could only grab a little seawater. I couldn't touch the light. I tried again and again, but no matter how I tried, I couldn't grab the moon. The words that I just heard from Sora cut across my mind again. I mean, that I cease to exist when no one's looking at me. I lay down on the bench and closed my eyes. I thought about Sora. As I thought, my consciousness slipped into a light sleep. It was actually more than a light sleep. I continued my slumber. When I opened my eyes, there was Sora. Kid, everyone is waiting for you, Sora said softly, peering down at me spread out on the bench. I was still half asleep when Sora and I started heading for the conference room and to meet everyone. I thought as I walked the corridors in a stupor. I remember the words that Sora had said before I slept. I mean, that I ceased to exist when no one is looking at me. For some reason, I just couldn't shake those words from my mind. Because that's what Coco does. I asked Sora walking next to me why she had said them. And this is what she said. Someone sees me, that action allows me to manifest myself for the first time. On that eye, that visual point, that someone's eye actually creates me. Kid, when you close your eyes, I disappear. This is new. Try it. When I close my eyes, I decided to test it and covered my eyes with one hand. Instantly, Sora vanished. If Sora did exist, I should have been able to see her head above my hand and her feet below. But Sora wasn't there. My hand kept the laser from reaching my eyes, so I couldn't see Sora. Something about it made it seem fragile and temporary. It scared me. I quickly put my hand down. Her beautiful image appeared without a sound. Does that not make him think about how Coco was in? Does that mean Coco's iris degenerated? I know she seems like a ghost or an apparition from another timeline or something along those lines because you can see the future and shit like that, but maybe she's iris degenerated. I don't know. She smiled gently. Sora? Yeah? There was no real meaning in my question. Maybe it's just that I wanted to see whether or not she'd answer me. Given her fragile existence, there seemed to be a danger that she might slip away at any moment. I was uneasy about it, and at the same time, felt sort of awe about the mystery of it. I felt drawn to her. Is there anything else? Please don't stare at me like that. Sora was blushing. Oh no, nothing else. Sora pinched her lips closed, as if she was slightly embarrassed. By the way, kid. Yeah? Kid, have you ever seen the moon? The question came out of nowhere. My mind switched tracks and started looking for an appropriate answer. The moon. Huh. Have we lost our memory? I don't suppose this is a question I should have to think about, but having lost my memory and all, I can't say for sure that I've seen it. But I know what the moon is, and I'm pretty sure I have seen it. I see. Well, now let's say you've seen a full moon. And let's say that you close your eyes. Do you think the moon would still be there? That's easy. Of course it would. And how about if everyone in the world closed all their eyes at the same time? I don't know what you're getting at, but even if everyone in the world closed their eyes, the moon wouldn't disappear. Really? Yes. How can you be sure? Just open your eyes and you can tell, right? That goes against the purpose of this exercise. The world wouldn't if you closed your eyes, if everyone closed their eyes and the moon disappeared, then the world would flood, right? It'd be catastrophic. So that's how we would know, because we would all drown. My question is whether there is any way of measuring whether or not the moon exists if someone closes their eyes. Yes, because of the effect it has on everything around it. That's how you can tell if something's there. You know, that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell, like, if there are planets, exoplanets in other solar systems, because of the effect they have on the sun's light. You know, it's all about what something affects around itself, right? When you close your eyes, do you think this world still exists? What if I told you that not only myself, but all of Lemieux is nothing but an RSD-generated illusion? What would you do then? Then I would have to be one, because I wouldn't be able to stand in it. Huh? Can you prove that the walls, the ceiling, and all of the scenery that you're witnessing actually exist? Is everything I'm looking at, is it RSD? I panicked, glancing around at my surroundings. I'm sorry, I was only joking. It was a joke. Yes, Lemieux really does exist. You sounded so full of confidence when you answered. I thought I would tease you just a bit. Sora giggled, covering her mouth. However, I can say this. For humans to know the world around them, they must use one of their 5 senses. If they lose all of these things, they lose the ability to tell whether this world exists or not. Another way of putting it might be to say that the perspective is in the eye of the beholder. In this instance, I don't mean just sight, but hearing, smell, taste, touch, all of the senses. The point at which we perceive the world. That is perspective. And I'm the same as the moon. Do you understand? I feel like I've been able to get to the gist of what she meant. But then any human would be the same as that, by that logic, anything. So I didn't know what exactly she meant by I am the same as the moon. I mustered an image of a silvery blue moon, its light piercing through the dark night. I see. That's what she means. The answer came to me surprisingly quickly. The moon didn't bark like a dog, it didn't smell, it didn't taste tart like an apple, at least not as far as I knew. The only way to be sure of the existence of the moon was through its small, its small gravitational pull and its blue-white light. Thinking of it in that way, the mysterious charm of the moon and its transience were things that Sora shared. I believed the moon was there, so it was there. I believed that Sora was there, and she was there. Maybe that was what Sora wanted to say? Yeah, I understand. That's what I answered. Sora's big eyes lit up and her cheeks wrinkled into a big smile. And it may have been my imagination, but from somewhere I thought I smelled a tart scent of apple. Alright, we've just finished up the rousing game of Kick the Can. We should be completely on the route to Coco's ending now. There should be no more major choices to make. And it should all be new, in theory. So, probably finish it in the next episode, but we'll kick off for now. See how long it goes. In the infirmary. Deciding to sleep was fine, but where to sleep? There were 4 legitimate beds in the dry areas. There was 1 in the compression chamber, 2 in the infirmary, and the examination table there as well. Tsugumi was AWOL. Sora didn't need sleep, so there's exactly 4 of us. Takeshi had been relegated to the compression chamber as a potential danger to the women. You and Sarah had said that since they were vulnerable young women, they would take the 2 beds. So I got stuck on the hard examination table. Hey kid. Kid? You asleep already? Takeshi was shaking me. I'd wake up even if I was asleep with you shaking me that hard. So which is it? Are you awake or asleep? It should be obvious. I'm sleeping like a log. I closed my eyes. Hey, come on, don't be like that. I can't sleep. Last night you seemed like you were sleeping fine. But I'm all alone in this tiny little cramped space. It makes me feel cooped up in a coffin. It makes me feel... It's the same place you were snoring away last night. You can sleep in a coffin. You can sleep in a cup of coffee. Hey, that almost rhymes or something. Coffin and coffee. Coffee has caffeine in it. That wakes you up. So there's no way a normal person could catch a wink in a cup of coffee. But caffeine wouldn't phase a big lunk like Takeshi. He'd sleep like a baby. Is that what you're trying to say with that almost rhyme of yours? Stupid. Is that any way to talk to your elders? I'm gonna sleep. Hey, come on, kid. Stay up with me a bit. Good night. I turned away from him. Tug, tug, tug. Takeshi pulled me off the examination table. Hey, what are you doing? I'll sue you. Come on, take it easy. Calm down. Let's have a drink, you know, man to man. No thanks. My thoughts exactly. Yuck, yuck, yuckity yuck. I'm nothing without you, kid. And then... Be quiet. Cut it out, the 2 of you. Just go to sleep. You lying in the bed next to me had snapped. She sat upright, a strange light emanating from her. "I'm sorry for causing such a ruckus, my lady." I walked out of the room with Takeshi's hand, pushing me from behind. "Hey, for now, why don't we go hit the kiosk and get some beers?" Takeshi started walking. I stayed where I was. "There's beer in limo?" I don't think it was for sale, but it was stashed in the back of the fridge. I figured some worker had hid it there, but I can't drink beer. "Huh? Why not?" I stopped and turned around. "I'm not old enough." "So what?" "Underage means you can't drink alcohol. It's the law." "So what are you saying? You don't want to go break any laws there, Boy Scout?" "Yeah. But you ate sandwiches and cola, right? And you didn't pay a cent." "That's because I had to survive." Yuck, yuck, yuck. I bet you're the kind of kid that'll knock on the kid next to you in class if he's passing notes to his friends. I am not. You don't know if you are or not because you don't got any memory. Oh, alright. You can drink cream soda then. I love creamy soda. Why creamy soda? Because you're just a little baby. I'm not a baby. I'm 16. Haha, 16, huh? 16, old enough to lead a whole gang of snot-nosed brats on your own. Stop it. 16 is still underage, but I'm not a kid anymore. I'm still not an adult, but I'm not a kid anymore. That's what I am. What about you as more than just a kid? Kid? I'm going back to bed. Liar, pants on fire. Right, because you're a big boy, all grown up. Yeah. He's the one who acts like a fucking child. Wait, hey, hold on a sec. Kid, you got no memory, right? Right. So how do you know you're 16? Because I don't know why. As I mumbled, I unconsciously held open the palm of my right hand. I stared absently at the palm of my hand. I still didn't have any idea what happened to my finger. There was no doubt that I had said I was 16. But I couldn't be sure I was right. I wondered if I was really that age, if I could believe my words. Well, whatever. Anyway, it's good that you'd remembered your age. Proof that you're slowly getting your memory back. 16, huh? So my guess wasn't far off then. Huh? Yes, I guess right. I said you were around 14 or 15. I suppose someone like you could be 16. Could be possible enough. Could be? Could be? What's that supposed to mean? I looked at my arms, my legs, my whole body as if to check. And lastly, I touched my hands to my face. What? Don't tell me you didn't forget your own face, did you? Face? I put all the power into opening the door. The room had a high ceiling, and I ran toward the mirror in the room's far wall. My leg caught the bench and I crashed to the floor. I lifted my head slowly. The mirror was right in front of me, and I was inside it. I looked at me. For some reason, all of a sudden I felt scared. I squeezed my eyes shut and looked down. I willed my legs to stand me up. My knees shook. I stumbled 2 or 3 steps. I put my hands on the locker to keep myself from falling. I tried to talk. It was as if the mirror was sucking me towards it. I put both hands on the mirror. Both of my eyes were slightly open, but I wasn't able to raise my face yet. I was facing me, and both of us had our hands facing each other. I could only see his body. His legs quivered, his palms shook. The mirror rattled as it shook. I took a breath. My shaking stopped. At that moment, sound suddenly disappeared. I didn't move. The other me didn't move either. I waited for him to move. I looked up ever so slightly. I saw a whole other world behind his back. A bench lay knocked over, and clothing was scattered everywhere. Someone was standing on the other side of the open door. "Hey kid, what's up with you running off like that?" I turned around. Takeshi stood with one hand on the door. A mirror? His voice made me want to look. I turned my eyes around, looking. Inside the massive mirror, the face of some kid who I didn't know was staring back at me. He screamed as if it was the end of the world. His face contorted in a way that chilled my spine. He clutched at his hair. His body shook, racked with convulsions. "What is it? What's going on, kid?" He put his fingernails on his cheek and then scratched harshly the flesh around his neck. His neck jutted forward, drooping downward, and his tongue hung out. No. What is it? What's wrong? This... It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. What's not you? Damn, what am I supposed to do? No. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. Just hold on. I'll go get everyone. I didn't know who the me was on the other side of the mirror. It wasn't the face of the kid that I knew. It wasn't the sick colour of his skin or his bloodshot eyes or the way his tongue hung limply. His whole appearance was completely different than anything I had a memory of myself. It wasn't me. No, I wasn't him. Who was he? Who in the world was I? The me that was standing there didn't know who I was. Where was the real me? Who are you? I asked him, and he asked me. Who am I? I asked me and he asked me. I was confused and losing touch with reality. Who are you? Who am I? Someone whispered in my ear. I didn't know if it were me or him. Who are you? Who am I? My eyes clouded over and I couldn't see clearly. His body swung back and forth like a pendulum, finally disappearing from my sight. Pure white darkness drifted, floating. But it wasn't me or him floating. I'd lost sight of where I ended and the world began. I'd lost all sense of everything. I had no way to confirm my existence. I just let myself drift. Like a baby floating in the womb, dissolving, dissolving, dissolving. I dissolved into pure white darkness, the pure white darkness becoming me. I was nowhere. The me that was nowhere was everywhere. So where was the real me? Who are you? Who am I? And the whispering voice disappeared, swallowed by the dark light. Well, that got intense. Oh my god, we've gone grey. I think it's grey. I mean, it's like back at the beginning when you weren't Takeshi or Kid. You were both or neither before you chose that choice. I mean, this must be the point where it conjoins, because you can get to Coco's ending from either side. This must be the point where it joins. So the ending's probably exactly the same from here either way, but I kind of want to go back after we do this and do start doing Coco's ending from Takeshi's side. Maybe we'll just stop it here at this point on the next run, because that should all be different. Because she was right there in Takeshi's side. Sarah's not there, and Coco is there. She's like physical, you know, not ethereal like she is with Kid, which is why I went through Kids the first. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? In this world where the boundaries between light and shadow blended, there was no sound. The motion of white waves of darkness surged forward, permeating my skin and shaking my whole body. Something like a hard shell began to resonate and emit a black light from inside. There was no sign that the waves would stop. Rather, they seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. A crack ran down the outer husk. It began to spread like the strands of a web and soon covered the entire shell. Pieces began to fall away, dropping to the floor. I was able to glimpse what I lay beyond the shed off husk. It was dazzling. Particles of light, whiter than white, filled the air and began to collect into one another. The light formed a vague image. The image jumped into my field of view, a fragment of a scene familiar to me. I woke up in the middle of the conference room. Shit, we're Takeshi now. Me? Why do I feel it's such unease with me? If you can stare at something for a long time, it can seem to warp and change. The unnaturalness I felt right then seemed a lot like that phenomenon. As though I was taking something for granted that I shouldn't. It's probably just my mind playing tricks on me. And not thinking any more about it, I shook Coco's shoulder. She was next to me, asleep, head down on the table. Hey, get up, it's morning. Rubbing her eyes, Coco got up slowly. Oh, good morning, brother. Huh? Oh yeah, Coco, you have a brother, but hey, you got the two of us mixed up. No, brother. You need to get ready or we'll be late for school. Coco was still half in dreamland. Late for school? What are you talking about? Well, it's just the setting it is. Listen. Stop messing around. We're gonna eat. Oh, okay, Takepion. When Coco and I made it to the kiosk, everyone had gathered there. Tsugumi, Sora, you, the kid, all of them. I made my way to the submarine and opened the door of the refrigerator in the sandwich shop. I remember this bit. This is really weird. Oh, I spotted sausages hidden in the back, so I decided to make everyone hot dogs. Soon after I made breakfast for everyone, I leaned out over the counter and said, Alright, whoever wants to eat, get in line. I'm first. Oh, well, here you go. Thank you. Help yourself to ketchup and mustard. I'd like one too. Hey, wait in line, the next person is me. This is probably the way that things usually were at this shop. There still wasn't any schedule as to when we might get out of Lamu, but in the meantime, we stopped thinking about the difficult and negative things. I'm not sure why, but you look like you're having fun. Who, me? You think so? Fun? I guess maybe. Yeah, you look like you might even be enjoying your life here. I wonder how that'd feel. I guess it'd be kind of fun owning a stand like this. Owning a stand? Takepion, you really look like you work here. Hot dogs, get your hot dogs. Oh, they're on the house. You don't think that maybe you could have sold hot dogs in a past life? Oh, shucks, man, me just saying that. No, Coco. I don't think it was a hot dog man. I think it was a sandwich man? Ah, come on, you. The three of them took their hot dogs and laughed, walking a short distance from the stand. And they came up, and as if they had traded places, Tsugumi came up. What just happened? Everyone was eating hot dogs, but I got one for you too. Tsugumi took it without so much as a thank you and went to the corner of the room. Sora was talking with the kid. It was a bit sad that I couldn't make anything for her. Still leaning over, I stuffed my hot dog greedily into my mouth and watched everyone from where I was. It was May 3rd. It had been 3 days since we'd been trapped. But everyone was bright and showed no feeling of fatigue or sadness. Especially Coco. It was hard to believe that she'd suffered so much that first night. For no reason, Coco was playing with Pee-Pee's tail. Looking at her smiling face, I suddenly remembered how we'd bumped into each other again. After I got her out of the elevator, I seemed to remember... You're that guy from before. You're that girl from before. The girl and I pointed at each other and froze. Woof. I spotted the scruffy face of a dog circling around her feet. Popo. His name's not Popo. This little guy's name's Pee-Pee. And my name's Coco. Try not to mix them up, okay? But what are you doing here? Well, what do you expect me to say to that? I was trying to go to one of the lower levels and all of a sudden this escalator stopped and... It isn't an escalator, it's an elevator, alright? Oops. I mean evelator, okay? No, not evelator, elevator. If you're on a moving staircase, that's called an escalator. And if you're in a box that goes up and down, that's an elevator. Try not to mix them up. Does it really matter? Anyways, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I was trapped in this box. Really? Hey. I'd kinda like to get out of here. Soon. I'm sorry. I said that and got down on my stomach from atop the elevator. I leaned down from the small hole and stuck my hand out to Coco. Please, help Pee-Pee first. Coco held up Pee-Pee to me, stretching as far as she could make him reach. I grabbed at the Pee-Pee's front legs and pulled him out from the hole in the ceiling. Okay, next is your turn, Coco. I stuck my hand out again. What? Coco jumped over and over, reaching out for my hand, but either she was too short or just had a terrible jump. Because she didn't even reach my fingertips. Hurry up! Oh, what you? Next I looked over to where Sora was. She was standing next to the kid and talking with Tsugumi about something. I couldn't hear what they were talking about from where I was behind the counter. Sora Akanakasaki. It was hard to believe she was only an illusion generated by RSD. I stared at her again from a distance. I thought about what we talked about the day before. By the way, Takeshi, have you ever seen the moon? Wait, no, what? That wasn't Takeshi, that was the kid. Haha, yeah. Are you kidding? Well, now let's say that you've seen a full moon. And you say that you closed your eyes. Do you think the moon would still be there? Why are you asking such obvious questions? Of course it would. And how about if everyone in the world closed their eyes at the same time? I don't know what your point is, but even if everyone in the world closed their eyes, the moon wouldn't disappear. Really? Yeah. How can you be sure? Just open your eyes and check, right? That goes against the purpose of this exercise. My question was whether there was any way of measuring whether or not the moon exists if someone closes their eyes. When you close your eyes, do you think this world still exists? What if I told you that not only myself, but all of Lamu was nothing but an RSD-generated illusion? What would you do then? Can you prove that the walls, the ceiling, and all of the scenery that you're witnessing actually exist? I'm sorry, I was only joking. That's a joke? Yes, Lamu really does exist. You sounded so full of confidence when you answered, I thought I'd tease you just a bit. However, I can say this. For humans to know the world around them, they must use one of their 5 senses. If they lose all of these, they lose the ability to tell whether the world exists or not. Another way of putting it might be to say that the perspective is in the eye of the beholder. In this instance, I don't mean just sight, but hearing, smell, taste, touch, all of the senses. The point at which we perceive the world, that is perspective, and I am the same as the moon. Their existence disappeared when I closed my eyes. But I felt that Sora had just as much as, no, maybe even more human warmth and caring than the rest of us. Then again, there was Tsugumi's coldness. I guess you're not as dumb as you look. What do you mean by that? I mean exactly what I said. You don't look that smart. This is a trap. And you probably aren't going to get out. No, not just you, but everyone else as well. All 4 of them. You're all the same. But what about you then, Tsugumi? I suppose I could die in a place like this. Isn't this a conversation the kid had as well? We're reliving conversations kid had with people. But now we're Takeshi. Are Kid and Takeshi the same person? I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I suppose I could die in a place like this. Wouldn't be that bad at all, I guess. I couldn't forget the cold smile that she had on her face as she said those words. I was thinking this and looking after her. I wasn't sure if she could feel my gaze, but she turned over to look at me. For some reason, I felt like she could see what I was thinking, and I avoided her eyes. The next person to jump into my field of view was you. You had finished eating your hot dog and dancing hand in hand with Coco. I wondered if there was some kind of folk dance. She smiled so wide it seemed her face might split and laughed boisterously. Her eyes shone so brightly, but I knew. Behind those eyes was hidden a past filled with sadness. Her father had disappeared 17 years earlier. I thought about the talk I'd had with you the day before. Maybe the reason she carried that album around with her was she wanted something to connect her with the memories of her father. I bumped into you and Coco in front of the ruins of Lemuria yesterday, May 2nd. In the palm of his hand was some kind of journal or notebook. She'd had it open and was staring at the page. Coco was standing next to her, busily peering over her shoulder. What's she looking at? We were looking at these pictures. Pictures? You want to see them? Sure. Okay, I'll show you. What you handed over to me was neither journal nor notebook, it was a single file. One small enough to fit in the palm of my hand. It was already open, and had several pictures taken from an instant camera stuffed between the pages. They were baby pictures. It can't be. Your baby? No, stupid. I'm 18, okay, and I'm single. Single. Yeah, right. Which means this baby is... It's Naku, dummy. These are from when Naku was a little bitty baby. So this is what you're laughing about. Something wrong with that? I mean, they're adorable, right, my baby pictures? And of course, the fact that I'm cute hasn't changed a bit, you know. Oh, and can you hand those back? And saying that, you snatched the file out of my hands. This picture is from when I dressed up as a kimono as a kid. And in this, I was head cheerleader for an all-school athletic event. Oh, and this one's from my first day of middle school. You continue to flip through the pages. And here's one I took at the talent show, my freshman year in high school. Here's Keiko, Min, Betty, Chi-chan. Beef Yamamoto. Beef Yamamoto? Oh, and couldn't forget my teacher, right? Is that his name, Beef Yamamoto? And the firework competition. Here's from my trip to the hot springs. Oh, and one from the time I stayed at Army Chance. And here we have, what is this? Oh, that's right. This is when we sneaked into school there one night. And of course the graduation ceremony. There was one more, here it is. It's hideous, right? I've been crying and crying. So much of Yu's history was there. Smiling faces, sad faces, silly faces, surprised faces, and even shy faces. There were girlfriends, boyfriends, teachers, people, afternoons, nights, good times and hard times. It goes without saying that shown in those photos were people I didn't know, places I didn't know, and a you that I didn't know. Oh, and then you looked like she had no intention of stopping, so I rushed in to get a word in. You. So, what is this like? Your life's history album or something? A history album? I never called it that before. But if you had to label it, I guess you could call it that. So why are you carrying it with you? Why do you even need to ask? Takepion, you don't know. All girls carry around things like this, it's normal. You don't say? Yeah. Well, all the girls I know carry them around. I wonder what everyone's doing right about now. You murmured softly to herself as she flipped through the pages. Do any of these people ever worry about me? Oh yeah. Do you live with your mum and dad? Takepion? Or do you live by yourself? Coco threw the question at me abruptly. Before answering, I tossed the question back. How about you, Coco? You're probably still living with your parents, aren't you? Well, I'm 14, aren't I? Of course I am. Ah, well, right now my dad isn't at home, but why not? Because he's on a business trip, that's why. Oh, I see. What about you, you? Are you living with your parents, or...? Oh, duh, why'd I ask that? I realised it had been a mistake to ask. His dad is missing. It didn't seem as if she cared one way or another. I'm living with my mum. But I doubt she's really worried about me. That's just the kind of person she is, my mum. What do you mean? I guess you call her a positive thinker. She's the type to really get herself caught up in things. She doesn't care if I stay out all night. I've been living with her for 18 years, but she's never raised her voice at me once. I grew up doing pretty much whatever I wanted. I suppose that's why I turned out the way I did. You showed me a page in her album that she turned to. There was you, putting the hurt on some wrestler. And the guy looked like a bulky jock of sorts. Coming out of my reveries, I noticed the scene had changed a bit. Alright, we need to wrap this one up, because this is going to be long. But the next episode might be the ending for Sora, and depending on how long it is, we'll go back and see the bit leading up. But I need to know what's happening now, because for some reason we switched from Kid to Takeshi. Now we're reliving Kid's memories, but as Takeshi. It's like we swapped minds with the same person. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure it's going to let us know eventually. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.